Welcome once again, everyone, to episode 5 of the New Breed podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, old school Browns fan, wearing my Kevin Mack jersey today, Mike Mitchell. And this is my co-host.
I am Grady Mitchell, the New Breed of Browns fan. I am repping my Joe Schobert jersey right now. So
I think this is absolutely the era that, like, this Kevin Mack personifies my era. I mean, I could have used anybody. I could have used Webster Slaughter, Bernie Kosar, Clay Matthews, anything like that. But that kind of represents my era. And then your favorite being Joe Schobert, who doesn't play for us anymore, but it kind of represents, you're even wearing the Color Rush version of it, for those of you that are just listening. We are here and ready for episode 5. Hopefully, those of you that are listening, wherever you find us, please hit us up, give us comments, ask questions, things that we can talk about on the air. I think I got one mailbag question this week that we can talk about. It just came in on Instagram right before we started recording. But for now, we are going to go to recent headlines. It is still recording. All right, leading off, you want to start with headline number 1?
Yes, Matthew Stafford is traded to the Rams.
Oh,
that's a big one. The Lions sent Stafford to Los Angeles in exchange for the Rams' first-round draft picks in 2022 and 2023 and a third-round pick this year, and quarterback Jared Goff.
Oh my goodness. What's your take on this trade, man?
I mean, I don't think all the extra first rounds and third rounds and all that, and Jared Goff, I think they would have been fine with maybe a first and a third in Jared Goff, not 2. I think maybe 2 firsts for Matthew Stafford and keeping Jared Goff under his arm.
So there's two things about this that I thought were really crazy. Number 1, Jared Goff just got an extension from the Rams.
Yeah.
And then they traded him. So they're like on the hook for the money, and they traded him. Not only that, Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl. He's not a great quarterback, but he took you to a Super Bowl. He was serviceable enough to take you to a Super Bowl. How many playoff games? I'm not even talking Super Bowls. How many playoff games has Matthew Stafford been in? Like 2, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, right?
I think he's won 1.
And he
playoff game.
I don't see, and I know this is what's going to happen, and this is exactly what's going to keep Deshaun Watson in Texas, in Houston, with a holdout forever because of this trade. Because there is no one that's going to be able to, if Matthew Stafford is getting 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a player of nearly equal value, right? If you go back, I think we looked it up when we were talking about this when it came up. As far as in ranking quarterbacks this season, I think Stafford was like 10 and Goff was like 13.
They were pretty close in rankings.
And I think that's just weird. I just don't know why you give up that much stuff. I don't know. But I guess there were some other huge offers out there too.
Yeah. The Rams also tried to go for Aaron Rodgers. I saw that.
Yes.
But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers were like, no, we are not giving up our franchise quarterback. So
the other caveat was Matthew Stafford was trying to tell them where he didn't want to go.
Oh, yeah. Matthew Stafford said he absolutely did not want to go to the Patriots.
I wonder why that was. Did he get too many horror stories from Patricia over the last few years? That he's like, I'm not going there. That's good stuff.
It'll haunt you in your sleep.
So next on the list, from SI.com, Browns Digest, there was an amazing article about how the Browns should explore trade for Texans J.J. Watt. let me preface this by saying in my Cleveland Browns tech support group, and you guys hopefully you're listening, you're watching. We were talking about this back and forth, and it's kind of split. I'm kind of like, a nice little 1-year deal that's inexpensive. He'll have to take a pay cut, maybe give him a 3rd-round pick. I could see it. And somebody else is like, nah, you can go younger, get better value. But I think J.J. Watt would be an incredible leader in the clubhouse. I think he would be a great pairing across from Myles Garrett. But the article went on to say that the Browns need more defensive line help that can provide an immediate impact. And J.J. Watt has made it pretty clear he has no intention of playing another down for the Houston Texans, while also understanding that he has to take a significant pay cut from his $17.5 million salary. The Browns need to know just how much he's willing to give up for a shot at the Super Bowl, but they could take out 2 birds with 1 stone in a trade with the Texans. What's your take on J.J. Watt?
I would like it, especially if we didn't re-sign Olivier Vernon. If that depends on the whole trade thing with J.J. Watt. If we re-sign Olivier, I don't say that you sign J.J. because they're both old and they'll probably just, both.
Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. This is not in the script. I'm going off script here with this. What if the Browns were to offer Jarvis Landry, who is like the 2nd highest paid Brown and only produced about 800 yards, and that was after OBJ went out. What if you package Jarvis Landry, a 5th-round pick, to get J.J. Watt for a year, around $8 to $10 million? Would you do that?
No, not really. No. Jarvis. Okay, so Jarvis adds depth to our wide receivers, and we also have enough. We have enough defensive linemen that trade would honestly, in my opinion, no offense to you, but would be unnecessary.
So I love, don't get me wrong, I love Jarvis Landry, but I feel like I would rather sign Rashard Higgins and use Landry as trade bait. Number one, it helps bring your cap number down, which we know the cap is going to drop this year. So it brings your cap number down, and you're taking your offense to the next place that I think they're trying to go, which is quicker, faster, overall. And don't get me wrong, I just saw today where Jarvis Landry is the only player in NFL history to have 7 consecutive seasons with 70-plus catches. So he's obviously an asset. But
and he threw 2 touchdowns this year.
He's thrown a couple touchdowns, but he's very versatile. But I think having him on the field, he is going to end up running the routes that the tight ends would normally run. And so unless you can have that guy on the outside that can, take the top off the defense and draw a safety, then that middle, deeper middle is open and let your tight end stay underneath that way. But we haven't had that. We haven't seen that yet. So our offense can evolve. Don't get me wrong. We can keep him and still continue to change, still continue to get better. I think his role will be changing and be different. But anyway, that's for me. You want the Nick Chubb?
Yeah. BrownsWire.usatoday.com says Nick Chubb led all running backs in yards over expectation per carry. Rushing yards over expected, or RYOE, measures what the player is expected to gain on a carry based on the play call, blocking, and defensive action. I think he's amazing at that.
Right?
I mean, if people had him low in rushing, if they had him under 1,000 yards, then you're just mentally insane.
Well, I don't think. I mean, he got hurt. He missed how many games? 4 games?
Yeah, like 4. 3.
He missed games and still almost made 1,000 yards. He was pretty tight. But I think what sets him apart is very rarely do you see him lose a lot of yards. Like basically He gained 1.75 yards more than expected per carry. And interestingly enough, in this article, it stated that Chubb also spent more time behind the line of scrimmage per carry than any other running back at 3.09 seconds on average.
That's crazy.
So he's literally taking the ball further or slower behind the line of scrimmage before he gets there, and yet he's still averaging 1.75 yards more than expected on carries. And I think that's just incredible. When you think about it, I mean, this is the guy, him, Baker, who else am I thinking of in my brain right now? Probably Wyatt Teller. You're going to have these guys that are going to be coming up after this year. We're going to be talking about this, a year from now. Do we have the restructured Baker deal? Do we have the restructured, Nick Chubb deal? How are we fitting these pieces back together and keeping the pieces that are going to be cornerstone? So next up, and I don't know how to pronounce his name, but from Cleveland.com, Douglas Morizes. Are we sure the Cleveland Browns aren't the third best team in the NFL? Thank you, Doug, from Cleveland.com for saying this, because I was thinking it as the Kansas City Chiefs pummeled the Buffalo Bills. When Mahomes went out, this is part of the article, and you might want to go check it out. When Mahomes went out with about 7 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the third quarter, the Browns were being outscored by the Chiefs 19-10. They were being outgained in yards, 320 to 221. At that same point, around the 7-minute, 30-second mark of the third quarter, the Bills were being outscored by the Chiefs 24-12 and outgained in yards 292 to 222. The article basically breaks down the depth at which the Browns were better at containing Mahomes than any team so far. And I don't think he's wrong. I think, and we talked about this here on this podcast, I think Joe Woods deserves some kind of award, whether it's Defensive Coach of the Year, whatever. Maybe we should make one up and send it to him. Because I mean, this guy was working magic. He literally had guys that weren't even in the starting lineup that had to play corners. He had no corners in that game, and yet was basically holding on. And we had a chance to win that game.
Yeah, imagine having no corners against the best offense in the league and still holding them to 9 points.
And I'm telling you now, that's where this is going to go. We're going to be having to go for corners. You want the next one?
Yeah. Green Bay parted ways with their defensive coordinator, Mike Petting, and are in a weird spot with Rodgers, who didn't seem pleased with how that Tampa loss ended.
That was one of the headlines I nabbed because former Browns coach Mike Petting let go as defensive coordinator. I remember watching the NFC Championship game, and I believe it was late in the fourth quarter. It was not looking good, and I believe that I said out loud, Mike Petting won't have a job next week. I believe that. I said that. And he does not have a job. Seattle fired their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer, and unfortunately, I think their offense was better than their defense. What's your take on Brian Schottenheimer getting fired as offensive coordinator?
I don't know. That offense is clearly, they've been elite for the past, 5 years. They've been pretty good. I honestly think that playoff loss against the Rams was really tough and hard on the Seahawks, especially that pick six. That was a cheap way to go. You can't throw a screen to DK Metcalf all the time. There's always going to be a guy on DK Metcalf no matter where he is. He's really shown up as a star this year, and now everybody's talking about him and they're marking him all the time. So
I think it's hard to let Russ cook, if you will, when everybody else knows the recipes. And the more that happens, it becomes, how dare I say, predictable. And I think the Browns down the stretch, I know we had a big win in the wild card against the Steelers, but I think our offense was getting to be predictable. Kansas City came prepared to stop the run and let Baker try to throw. I mean, Baker was doing well with it, but I think that last drive that we had, and there's a difference. There's a difference in the last drive that we had versus Kansas City, and say the drive that ended in the pick six versus the Rams for the Seahawks, and that was we were playing above ourselves and limited and struggling and yet still in it. And I think, and I'm not one to criticize decisions and things like that, but I think a lot of our play calling on that last drive was pretty suspect. They tried to do the screen pass thing. They tried to do, but they were trying to do things that they were consistently doing, right? So it wasn't like we never went downfield. We never tried to take the top off. And I know we don't have a lot of speedsters, but find somebody, even if you got to try to do a double move with DPJ, try something. At least nothing else, throw the ball and see if you can go get it. Just make them aware that you can go downfield, but we never really did. Anyway, I don't know how I got there from there, but this was an article I had saw. John Stinchcomb from the Port Clinton News Herald. Jeff Panovich donates shorn locks to children's charity. Browns winning season drives longtime fan to barber chair after 7 years. So after a nearly 7-year wait, diehard Cleveland Browns fan Jeff Panovich, a longtime season ticket holder from Bucyrus, has finally received a haircut following the franchise's first winning season in over a decade. So the story basically says that Panovich basically said, I'm not cutting my hair until the Browns have a winning season. And that was 7 years ago.
A long time.
And we didn't even make the playoffs that year. So, but I think that him cutting his hair, donating it to a children's charity, I thought was incredible. And it was a good story. These are what Browns fans are. This is what Browns fans do. And I think that was pretty awesome. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. Rocket League, which is a free-to-play game, they have come out with a new NFL game mode, the Gridiron. It is so much fun, depending on how you look at it. Play with your friends in a 4v4 game mode. Try and score the football-shaped ball into the goal while it's attached on top of your car.
It's pretty crazy. I don't know if anybody knows what Rocket League is, but watching him play it previously and then watching this game mode, it's a little bit different. You can actually catch the ball with your car and it attaches to your car. If you throw it into the goal, it's only worth 3 points, like a field goal. And if you drive the ball into the goal with your car, it's worth 7 points, like a touchdown. So different game mode and
there's
pretty
a
unique.
kickoff every time you score a point.
Right.
To either team.
Yeah, just like football.
Just like football.
Check it out.
All right.
So this comes in just today. Browns defensive line coach Chris Kiffin is scheduled to interview for the Packers vacated defensive coordinator position. Chris is a 14-year veteran, has experience as an assistant coach, defensive quality control, defensive coordinator, pass rush specialist, while most notably leading the league's best and frankly dominant 49ers pass rush. Kiffin was hired in 2020 as the Browns defensive line coach. So possibility after only a year, he could be heading to the Packers as their DC, possibly. What's your take?
Clearly he's been great this year. Myles Garrett, Olivia Vernon. I mean, you know the guys. You know how well they performed this year. Even getting in those young guys like Jordan Elliott. Who's the other one? Vincent Taylor.
Yeah, Vincent Taylor. Got time. Jordan Elliott got time.
They even use those guys and still perform well on the defensive line. Porter Gustin.
One of our faves.
Porter Gustin. Oh man, Porter Gustin. But I think he did great this year.
Awesome. Right now, that's all we have for recent headlines. We should just sit there and talk about. We just move our mouse. We'll figure that one out later. So here on the New Breed podcast, we wanted to do something, and I'm an avid listener of podcasts, and so one of the things I haven't heard yet, and of course we're only just a few days into February, but we wanted to take time to address Black History Month from a Cleveland Browns perspective. And we want to bring to you Cleveland Browns players who are African American, who have played and made an impact for the Cleveland Browns. What a place to start than the Cleveland Browns' first African American football defensive lineman, William Carnett Willis. William Carnett Willis was born October 5th, 1921, and died November 27th, 2007. He was an American football defensive lineman who played 8 seasons for the Cleveland Browns in the All-American Football Conference and the National Football League. Known for his quickness and strength despite his small stature, Willis was one of the dominant defensive football players of the 40s and early 50s. He was named an All-Pro in every season of his career and reached the NFL's Pro Bowl in 3 of the 4 seasons he played in the league. His techniques and style of play were emulated by other teams, and his versatility as a pass rusher and coverage man influenced the development of the modern-day linebacker position. When he retired, Cleveland coach Paul Brown called him, quote, one of the outstanding linemen in the history of professional football. He was born in Columbus, Ohio. He died in Columbus, Ohio at the age of 86. He attended Ohio State and went undrafted in 1945 and played then for the Cleveland Browns from 1946 to 1953. He also coached, and as a coach, he coached Kentucky State in 1945. And his career highlights include...
he was an NFL champion in 1950.
He was a 3-time Pro Bowl award recipient in 1950 to 1952.
He was 4 times first team All-Pro from 1950 to 1953.
He was 4 times AAFC champion, 1946 to 1949.
3-time first team All AAFC team from 1946 to 1948.
He was 2nd team All AAFC in 1949.
NFL's 1940s All-Decade Team.
He is in the Cleveland Browns Ring of Honor.
National champion in 1942.
With the Buckeyes. He has his number 99 with the Ohio State Buckeyes retired.
Ohio State Buckeyes number 0 honored.
And he played in 99 games and 1 interception. To note, he is in both the Pro Football Hall of Fame as well as the College Football Hall of Fame. You want to take that?
Willis was one of the first 2 African Americans to play professional football in the modern era, signing with the Browns and playing a game in September 1946, along with Marion Motley. Marion Motley, a contest which took place months before Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in Major League Baseball with the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That is our first nod to Black History Month, Cleveland Browns version for the month of February. Why not start it with William Carnett Willis? Thank you so much. He totally changed football. I mean, you're talking about a guy that not only broke the color barrier in football, but basically revolutionized the linebacker position by the way he played.
That's great.
He was an incredible athlete. Look that up, kids, on YouTube, and search that up. So now we are going to, and we promised that we would, and we are going to take you to the New Breed Mock Draft 2.0.
Let's go.
That means our second one, right? That's our second one. Now we changed it up a little bit. After doing a little research, after paying attention to what we have and where a lot of our holes are, also, if you paid attention to last year's draft, and we went back to last year's draft, we broke it down. Almost every person that we draft, I think, yeah, every player that we drafted last year played.
We looked it up. Everybody got playing time. Jedrick Wells, of course, was a starter. Harrison Bryant played. Grant Delpit went out with injury, so it really doesn't count.
That was our one.
Jacob Phillips, Nick Harris, Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Yeah.
All those players played. Jordan Elliott. All of those players played.
Yeah.
And they were all very young players. And
so our take was, okay, let's look at filling holes. Let's look at youth. And then what's our value at the pick? Now, I will say that we use, again, fanspeak.com. They're on the clock mock draft, which is really nice. It actually is a lot easier than most of the ones that we've used or tried to use. It also generates trades. So there is a trade generation thing that happens in and out of the thing. So it goes up and down and back and forth. And I think we started this draft and were immediately offered a trade. The Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm not sure that this would really happen in real life.
It probably wouldn't.
But we took it anyway because it did in the simulation. So we took the trade with the Jaguars. They will send us the 25th overall pick and their first pick in the second round to drop back to our 26th pick. I'm not sure why I would do that at all if I was a GM.
Drop back and give us an extra pick.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
So it's probably not going to happen this way, but we took it. And so
I'm not complaining.
Not complaining at all either. We snatched it up immediately. First pick, now pick 25. The Browns are on the clock. Grady, who did we take?
We took J.C. Horn, cornerback from South Carolina.
So the thought process here for us was, what's the value? J.C. Horn is a solid cover corner, decent size, not too old, right? And so why not take a chance on this corner from South Carolina with that 25th pick?
Yep.
So then we go to the second round, pick 1. Grady, who did we take?
We took wide receiver Tylan Wallace from Oklahoma State.
Tylan Wallace would fill a void in our team with an injection of speed and the ability to go deep. Tylan Wallace does well in the deep ball. He adjusts his body well, and he's pretty fast. So I thought that was a great choice, especially since you don't know what you're going to do with Jarvis. You don't know what Odell Beckham Jr. is coming back.
You're going to do with Rashard Higgins.
Rashard Higgins may not re-sign. You've got Carter Hodge. You've got some guys there. But
no, you don't even know.
Well, yeah, you don't know if you're going to have Hodge back or not either. But so, yeah, there's definitely going to be a need at wide receiver.
Yeah, so we took that.
So we took Tylan Wallace. Round 2, then we had another pick 27. Who did we take?
We took linebacker Jabril Cox from LSU.
Linebacker Jabril Cox, LSU. So here was the mindset on this. The mindset is, number 1, get younger. And number 2, get faster and more physical at linebacker. I have to think that if we're going to compete with the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Bills, you are going to have a fast, athletic linebacking core and secondary. Possibly looking at one linebacker set and having a rover, and then maybe just filling the rest with corners and safeties, because I don't think that you can do what other teams are doing. And I think you could see it in the Kansas City game, what Joe Woods is really kind of wanting. And I think that's the direction that you're going to see the defense go. They're going to, other than the 4 up front, the back end, you're going to get leaner, faster, and just aggressive in coverage and keeping up and then shutting things down. Maybe I'm wrong. Round 3, pick 25 then gave us.
I'll let you take this one since this is one of your favorite
One of my
players.
favorites. I don't think he's going to be there in the 3rd round at pick 25, but I absolutely love the attitude, the size, the athleticism, and the hips of Ifeatu Melifonwu, the corner from Syracuse. I just love this guy, and I don't think he's going to be there in the 3rd. We might have to take him in the 2nd, but I love his body of work, and I love watching him in coverage and just working. I think it's great. We have then round 3, pick 27. Who did we go with?
We took Andre Cisco, safety from Syracuse.
Mindset behind that was, again, you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what's coming back.
You don't know if you're going to sign Carl. You don't know if you're going to sign Andrew. And you don't have very much depth. Only Grant Delpit's coming off an injury there.
And Ronnie Harrison.
Ronnie Harrison and Redwine.
And Sheldrick Redwine.
That's about it, though.
So this could possibly be, granted, I have to say this, if there is a deal in place to bring Carl Joseph back, I don't know that we draft a safety.
Yeah,
I think we could roll with those 4, assuming Delpit is healthy, because I think Ronnie Harrison played really well down the stretch. He was one of the highest graded defenders for the Browns down the stretch.
And he didn't even play for half
and
the
didn't
season.
play for some of it. So I think Ronnie Harrison, Grant Delpit, Carl Joseph could fill that spot, but Sheldrick Redwine is right there. I don't know that you're going to need to take a safety here, but we did.
Also, by the way, that Ronnie Harrison signing right before the season was pretty good.
That was sneaky.
Honestly, yeah.
I thought that was pretty sneaky. I thought that was pretty
but
good.
it ended up being very good. So
my dream is having 22 and 33 on that back end and just running people down, knocking balls away, picking off passes. I can't wait to see it. Pick 5 in the 4th round. Who did we take?
We took Ellerson Smith, edge from Northern Iowa.
So I think Ellerson Smith might fly enough under the radar that he'll go to round 4. If not, take him in round 3. We almost took him in round 3 where we took Andre Cisco, because Ellerson Smith is athletic, he's long, he's big, and he can step out in coverage. Watching him in the Senior Bowl, he was able to read a lot. So obviously watching him do and defend a lot of what Lamar Jackson's going to do to you, a lot of what Patrick Mahomes is going to do to you. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. He was very solid, held the edge, set the edge, and he's a big physical guy. And I don't think he lost too much by not playing this year. So round 4, pick 27. Who did we take?
We took Thomas Graham Jr., cornerback from Oregon.
So again, I don't know that Thomas Graham Jr. is going to be there at pick 27 in the 4th round, but another guy, I am not even sold that he's a great cover corner, but man, if you could play this guy within that nickel, within that slot, and just have him covering people, his attitude alone is worthy of being on the field. See, we're used to Denzel Ward. We're used to Denzel, who covers, doesn't talk a whole lot, doesn't say a whole lot. Thomas Graham Jr. is going to get in your face and tell you. He's going to talk to you about it. He's going to tell you. And I would love to see him get in some business of some Juju Smith-Schuster, some Chase Claypool, and let him have it.
Juju won't be there.
You think Juju's not going to sign with Pittsburgh?
No. After what he did this season?
They're not going to want to sign him back? Is that what you're saying?
No, they won't.
So we added another corner. In case you're counting, that's 3. We need him. So pick 25 in the 5th round. Who did we take?
We took Isaiah McCoy, wide receiver from Kent State.
Isaiah McCoy, wide receiver, Kent State. I thought he was a good logical pick there. I don't know that we need a 6'3", 200-pound guy, but there he is. Hometown kid. Gotta love it to give him a chance and see what he's got. I think that's a decent pick. We need the depth at receiver. And that gives you another big body guy. Pick 26 of round 6. Who did we take?
Brian Mills, corner from North Carolina Central.
Brian Mills, North Carolina Central, cornerback. Yet again, another one. I think we went Brian Mills there. Longer, taller, leaner, just another corner to add depth. I'm not going to lie. We basically went to the next corner on the list and said, yep, you're coming to our team.
Yeah.
And then pick 28 of round 7. Who did we take?
Fullback Ben Mason from Michigan.
Fullback Ben Mason, Michigan. The only thing that I could say is it was round 7. We had some extra picks.
We were gonna take quarterback Ian Book, but he got drafted like 4 picks earlier. So we were like, who are we gonna take here? Then we were like, oh, Ben Mason's on the board.
I honestly, again, in round 7, how can you not take a football player? This is a guy that's going to show up from day one. He's going to work hard. He can catch the football. He can run the football, and he absolutely loves to block people. Go back and watch his Senior Bowl tape. He just likes to hit people, loves to take people out. And he will play on special teams. He has no problem playing on special teams. This kid is a football kid. Absolutely love this guy. And I love his motor.
I think we really would love a blocking fullback that blocks very well. So
I think Andy does a good job, but I think he had moments this year where he was kind of like out of sync. Like he wasn't
like
in the right spot at the right, like it seemed clunky to me, but
I think, yeah, that's great.
Add him with Andy, and there you go.
Yeah.
Nothing else. He can run special teams for you forever, and when needed, drop him in. But I love his motor.
Double fullback formation.
Ooh.
It's nasty.
That would be nasty. Definitely a guy you can give the ball, have faith in giving the ball to on the goal line too. But anyway,
yeah.
That is our mock draft 2.0. I don't know that we're going to do one every week, but we're at least going to try to keep up. I think we're going to have to let some time pass. Let some things get out, do some research on some more of these guys. But I think what you saw from us, I can't tell you exactly what Barry and company are going to do. I know they like younger, and I know they want to get faster. That's 2 things I know that they are wanting to do. And looking at our holes and looking at the places that we need the most assistance, you'll notice we didn't take a quarterback because it wasn't there. Case Keenum, you're going to have to get your deal restructured because we can't pay you a lot of money to hold a clipboard. Just saying. Kyle Laletta, you stay on the practice squad. You stay healthy just in case. We didn't take any offensive linemen. We've got 11 offensive linemen right now that are possibly in or out, and that's counting the 5 starters who should all be healthy heading into camp. You got 6 additional guys from your practice squad and from the guys that opted out that are ready to compete for jobs and compete for spots. And it's going to be tough. I think we're going to have a year number 2 of the best offensive line in the league, and we'll have depth. So I don't know that we need to worry about that. We didn't take a defensive lineman, a true defensive lineman per se.
Oh, we took Ellerson Smith.
We took Ellerson Smith, who's an edge. No down lineman. So Andrew Billings is going to have to hopefully come back, and you might have to re-sign Larry if this is the case that you're going to go. So a lot of that will change. A lot of that's going to change and dictate then what they take. Maybe they do. If they don't re-sign Larry Ogunjobi, they don't pick up anybody in free agency. Maybe you do take a D tackle in here somewhere. Probably a 3-tech, right? A guy that can play a lot of 3-tech and get off the A gap, but hopefully.
Maybe take him instead of one of those corners, or maybe even Tylen Wallace.
That's it for our mock draft. Stay tuned for more talk of that. You don't like it, let us know. Leave comments. We don't get any comments on anything. We know there's people watching. We know there's people listening. Leave us comments. Post a comment somewhere. Hopefully we'll try to find it. As of right now, we don't get any comments. And we come to our time for shout-outs. Do you have any shout-outs today?
Oh, yeah, I do actually have one. Evan Osborne, thanks for watching and listening. Well, Schmidt.
Schmitty! Hey, Schmitty!
My bad. Messed up the last name.
Schmitty.
Evan. Evan Schmidt.
Evan Schmidt.
Yeah, I hope that's clarified.
Schmitty, thanks for watching.
I've known him as
we did get one from Instagram, Basketball Dad 1, Chad Keene. He asked the question, do you think we're going to re-sign Rashard Higgins? I really hope that we do. I think it's necessary. Even if you got to pay him a little bit more money and possibly, I know you're not going to like this, but possibly trade Jarvis in the process, maybe, or trade OBJ. I don't know what his value is now coming off this knee injury, though. So you'd almost get better trade value out of Jarvis than you would OBJ. OBJ and Jarvis are our two highest paid players right now. Sheldon Richardson is right behind that. Could Sheldon restructure? Maybe, for a chance at a ring. Would Jarvis restructure? Possibly, for a chance at a ring. I don't know, but I know that really Rashard Higgins stepped up huge over that second half of the season. From week 7 on, he was literally the most productive receiver on our roster, and I really think you gotta give him his credit. And we love you, Rashard Higgins, and we'd love to have you back, but we're not ownership. We're just two guys sitting in mom's basement talking football.
Yeah, I would like to see him re-sign back.
I think so. I hope so.
I hope so.
What else you got?
Nothing much.
Nothing else. Nothing else. This has been episode 5. I don't know what else to expect. Make sure that you get out there. You leave a review for us. Recommend us to your friends. Share us. We're all over social media. So share us, like us. If you do not like us, then don't recommend us, but at least leave us a review. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you want. Yeah, tell us what you want. Tell us what you want. You want more mailbag? We'll start trying to hit up more mailbag. Maybe we need to do the weekly player spotlight. Maybe we'll try something. We'll start throwing things around here. But let us know what you'd like to see. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I hear a lot of things, and I know that we're not the worst out there. Let's just put it that way. We may not be the most educated in football as far as the NFL and what happens, but we're pretty smart. We're real, and we're real fans that just love to talk about football. So let us know what you think, what you want to hear, and we'll do our best to make it happen. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
Thank you all for listening to episode 5 of the New Breed Podcast. I'm still going to bark, man. I don't care.